Hello, good evening. My name is Malik Abbasdab. Welcome to PM Express. There are 116 buses, 31,000, 3.6 million. Of course, those are very many and confusing figures, but those are figures that have angered many Ghanaians and in fact elicited petitions and legal suits. I'm talking about the infamous branding of buses that has cost the nation a whopping 3.6 million. That is the topic for today's discussion. We are asking on PM Express today, was this a necessary expenditure? Of course, there are those who say this was plain thievery. Others argue this was complete reckless expenditure. What are their arguments? Join me on PM Express tonight as we explore these matters. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. We are talking the controversial branding of 116 buses, a branding that has cost the nation 3.6 million and has caused outrage and anger amongst many. One of such Ghanaians is Francis Kennedy Oklu, the awareness general, they call him. Francis, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Malik.
You are upset about this expenditure. Tell us why.
Indeed, to start or begin with, I can't even conclude whether the branding is even necessary or not, because as a graphic artist, I also do branding sometimes. But I think what has attracted people is the figures which the minority leader started with in Parliament.
Okay, you're talking about Chairman Sebo. He was the one who first raised these matters because it was part of a document that was produced in Parliament.
Exactly. And you can see that it was when he mentioned that figure that people got the awareness that how can we spend that kind of money on just branding buses? So that brought about the whole anger.
Of course, that's the genesis, but you don't think that the branding was necessary?
Honestly, I think I can, like I said initially, I do branding for a living sometimes, so I can't conclude whether it is necessary or it isn't.
Okay. But because it is your business, if you were to say it is not necessary, that means you are out of business. Of course,
I'm out of business. But I want to say, put on record that, you see, it's because of the figure. Maybe if they had come around the figures of 5,000 for a bus, 5,000 for a bus or 4,000 a bus, their eyebrows might not be raised. But because of 31,000 for a single bus, that's why people are so angry and outraged.
Okay, let's all stick with the necessity of this branding.
Okay.
You are in this business.
Okay.
And people brand for all kinds of reasons. Okay. You brand because you want to create a certain positive image for a product or a service.
Create awareness as well.
Or create awareness about it. So when we brand a bus, what are we creating an awareness about?
In fact, on this particular bus, I don't think even the branding is necessary. Because in the first place, what is the purpose of this bus? It is going to convey citizens, let's say citizens or workers or whatever, to and fro to their homes or wherever they are going. I think the bus itself is so big for it to be seen. It will be visible on the road. I mean, on this particular bus, I can conclude that it is not necessary for us to brand, let alone spend that kind of money to brand.
But of course, maybe the branding was not to advertise the bus, but to advertise the persons and to remind us of our history, because we have seen the pictures that are on the buses. We have seen the picture of former President Kufuor, former President Rawlings, the late J.E.A. Mills, and then current President John Mahama.
So I don't even know what the pictures will do for us as a nation.
They remind us as a nation of our history and where our immediate history.
I don't think it's necessary. The pictures are not necessary at all. Indeed, I mean, when it comes to history, when you Google Ghanaian president, you can get all of them. So why put them on buses? What are they going to do?
My cousin in Wa may not have any access to the internet or gadgets that will enable him to Google. But if the bus were to go to he would see the bus, he would see all these former presidents. That is good for our history.
So, I mean, when he sees it, what does it do for him? See history. What will history do for him?
Well, it's an awareness.
Oh, no,
and
no,
you
no,
an
no.
awareness general.
I don't think so. In this particular, I mean, looking at the stark poverty in the villages, I mean, this kind of money is too much to spend on that kind of branding.
Okay, so that's why you have gone to court.
Exactly.
Tell us how many of you have taken this matter to court.
We are 7.
7 of you.
Yes.
You want to mention some of the names? Yourself, we know Kathleen Addy.
Yeah, Kathleen is there.
One of them.
And then, I don't know if I can mention others.
You know, just mention some of the list.
I think there's Michael Ano, and there's Kwame Bakers and San Yabafo, Evans Amagashi, and then Kathleen, as you have mentioned, and then Lolan.
So the 7 of you have
7
gone
of
to
us.
court. And your argument essentially is what?
We want to see the contract. The contract that the Minister of Transport signed with the person who did the branding. We want to see the contract, the details of the contract. We want to see.
So that what?
I mean, when we see it, then we put it out there for Ghanaians to make judgment whether monies have been misappropriated.
Well, so you come and produce a contract, and the contract tells you this is how much we paid, this is a service that they provided. So you put it there. What purpose will that achieve?
There are suspicion that monies have been misappropriated. That is why we want to see exactly what went into the branding.
Once again, my cousin Mumuni Yaya in Wa does not care what the figures are. What he wants is results. If what you are doing is not taking back some of the money, he doesn't care. No,
but you know, this time of the world, information is very key. I mean, when you are abreast with information, it's very important for you. So we want to know. We seek information. We are concerned Ghanaians, and we seek information on this particular contract.
There are those who say you are just a bunch of opportunists who have taken undue advantage of this, and you want to make yourselves relevant in society.
Not at all.
And that's why you brought this rather vexatious matter before court.
Not at all. If people who follow me on Facebook will see how angered I was when I first saw this.
Yes, I was one of those people.
Okay.
I followed you. I read all the things that you
And then each moment I'm making update. I have people even inboxing me, why are you so angry about this particular contract?
And I'm still asking you that question. Why are you so
angry? I mean, it gets my goods. You see the stark poverty in the rural areas, Malik, and then you take this kind of money, this quantum of money to brand buses, put just slump faces of people onto buses. I mean, what is it going to do for us? It doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't make sense to me.
So, you have gone to court.
Yes.
And you want the minister to
provide and furnish us with the information on how the contract, whether it was single
but the chief of staff is dealing with this matter. The chief of staff, and I'm talking about Mr. Julius Debra, he has written to the Attorney General, and if I may just read what he has written to you, if you haven't seen it before. This is a review of the contract for the spraying and branding of the intra-city buses. And he says, my attention has been drawn to the above stated contract in which it is alleged about 116 intra-city buses have been sprayed and branded. By this letter, you are directed to review the contract and the associated payments and revert without fail with your findings to my office by close of day of 22nd December 2015.
When was it dated?
I can't see the date exactly on this one. Okay. This is a printed
And
copy.
This came after the monies have been spent, isn't it?
Yes, because the chief of staff was
And he's the chief of staff. Why isn't he aware? He should be aware.
Why should he be
He's
aware?
part of government, so he should be aware.
Yeah, but to be fair,
So does it mean if the minority leader didn't bring this up, I mean, it would have gone, it would just have gone away? He should have been aware. I mean, I see this thing as some kind of, yes, I don't even see this one as making, okay, he said today.
By close of day
By
today,
close of
I'm sure
day.
The response would have been sent.
I mean,
actually tried
it's 9 p.m.
contacting.
It's 9 p.m. Did you hear anything?
Well, I actually tried contacting government sources to find out what the response is. But to be fair, even if the response were to be given to the chief of staff today, we can't have it for the show.
I mean, even this has no bearing whatsoever with what we are seeking in court. No. We have gone in our capacity as private citizens or concerned citizens seeking information on how the contract went through. That's all we seek. So what he might want to go his way. We also want to go our way.
No, but let's stick with this, Francis. If the Transport Ministry, which has jurisdiction over this BRT, bus rapid transit system, the ministry decides to enter into a contract with a private company or individual to brand the buses. Okay. That's a matter that will not come to the president or the chief of staff.
With that kind of money is involved, was it sole sourced, or I mean, was it on the public procurement?
No, I think it was sole sourced. But
so I mean, with this kind of money, how can one person be in a corner, just call maybe a friend or a family member and said, okay, you know what, come and brand buses for me?
No, we don't have any evidence.
Yes, I don't have any evidence, but as things are going,
because all we know is that this company, Smarties, which did the branding, is a company owned by Selassie Ibrahim, who is alleged to be, who is a wife of a former minister of state in the NDC.
Okay.
So, but that is not itself any evidence that some impropriety took place.
I mean, with that kind of money, why would anybody just call somebody in the corner somewhere and then say, come and brand buses?
We don't know if they called anybody.
That is why we want to seek all this information. When we get all this information, then we will know whether they just cornered someone and said, you know what, there are buses to be branded, come and brand it. But if you get all this information that we have taken, we are asking the court to help us get, then we will know.
Many things have happened.
Okay.
We have not seen you or any group of Ghanaians express this level of outrage.
You know.
Why now?
Sometimes you keep some of the things, but some at a point comes and you can't keep it anymore. For instance, I was telling you, I kept on writing. Indeed, it was depressing me. So I said, okay, why don't I take action?
So you vented on Facebook.
No, I mean, if you vent on Facebook, nothing happens. You shout on Facebook, nothing happens. So you have to put the shouting into actions. And that is exactly what I've gotten some 6 other Ghanaians to help me do.
My issue has to do with the fact that the chief of staff, you are actually asking for the production of documents. The chief of staff is actually asking for a review of the contract and the payments thereof.
Is that what the chief of staff is seeking?
That's what the letter says. It says, by this letter, you are directed to review.
The fact.
Review, and I think the operative word is review. Review the contract and the associated payments and revert without fail. Strong language. Revert without fail with your findings to my office by close of the 22nd December. And I think this letter the letter came out on Friday.
On Friday.
So Friday, Monday, Tuesday. This is
honestly, in fact, I even see this letter as being mischievous. Because you see, he's part of government, isn't he? He's part of government.
Yeah, but he doesn't take all the decisions.
And when did this branding take place?
Yeah, like we don't know, but
we don't know. Okay, so until this
like
was raised in Parliament, wouldn't we have all been quiet on this? We would. So I even see this as maybe just to cover up something. So that's why we don't even want to. Indeed, we filed our suit this morning. When we were filing, we were aware of this in circulation. But we just disregarded it because we see it as maybe some
It is because window. It is rather you who are up for mischief and not the
No. We are not for mischief. I mean, when we get the document, no, we are not for mischief. We are not for mischief.
We had another civil society organization, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, which also raised some concerns about this. I think we spoke to Vitus Azim of the GII. If Vitus Azim's interview with us is ready, can we listen to it so that when we listen to it, I'll come back to Francis to respond to, okay, it's not ready. So, but now let's go beyond.
Now in Ghana, I don't see any one single individual who is not intrigued with this particular contract?
I can point to you one person
Who is happy with this contract?
Henkin, I read on Facebook, saying he doesn't understand what all this halabaloo is because he sat in one of the buses. So I think it was either a post he made or he shared.
Okay.
He sat in one of the buses and he read about Ghana's history in the bus, and the bus is comfortable, and so he's fine.
The comfort is fine, but the branding is outside the bus.
But he's pointing out that the branding educated him.
I don't think, okay, that is view. That is view. But I know most Ghanaians on the street are not happy with this kind of figures, which were, I mean,
let's look at some of the
31,000 cedis. That's a lot of money.
Let's look at some of the figures. And this was a pro forma invoice from Smarties.
Allegedly being in circulation. We don't even know whether that's
when we called a source at the company, this Smarties Management and Productions, when we called a source, what he said was, well, this is their letterhead.
Okay.
He didn't say anything further as whether this is. He just said, well, this is their letterhead.
Okay.
And so you can guess if these things are correct.
Correct.
And this is what is on the pro forma invoice. Material cost for spraying of one bus, 14,210 cedis.
That is 140 million old Ghana cedis for the material cost.
Yeah, material cost for spraying one bus. The bus is fairly large bus, isn't it? And the colors are red, yellow, green, and black. Okay. So our national colors, red, yellow. Okay, not quite national colors.
Okay.
There are some people who want to make some mischief, and they see these as NDC colors. I don't think these are NDC colors. And then the material cost for one vision stickers, that's 1,250.
That's one-way vision. That's, I'm sure, the ones that has the pictures of the one-way vision. When you are inside the bus, you can see outside. But when anybody is outside, they can see the occupant in the bus.
Okay, so that's
one-way vision.
Okay, that vision stickers.
Vision stickers.
Okay, so that's 1,250 Ghana cedis per bus.
Per bus.
Yeah. Do you think that is too expensive?
Anyway, you know what? When we get the contract, the details of the contract.
But this is a pro forma invoice on the basis of which the contract would have been formed or drawn.
So when we get it, the details of the contract, I don't know if this we are seeing. I think over the week this was flowing around on WhatsApp. I don't know whether this will be added to the supporting document that the minister is going to give to us. Okay,
but the cost of SAV quoted sticker, I don't know what SAV is. That's your business. You may have to help us with that. So the cost of SAV stickers is 1,210. So the vision stickers is 1,250. This one, the SAV quoted sticker is 1,210. And the labor cost for spraying, this is one of the cost centers that has generated a lot of debate. The labor cost for spraying one bus is 3,000 per bus. And the labor cost for stickers, is 2,000.
So which means there are about four or five labor centers.
Well, so we have
those who sprayed, those who stuck the sticker on the bus, and then which people again?
Well, we just have the cost for spraying. So there's cost for the materials for spraying, and there's labor cost for the spraying. For the material for spraying is 14,210 per bus, and the cost for spraying is 3,000.
Okay.
And then the labor cost for stickers, that's and the stickers, there are two of them. There's the vision stickers, which is 1,250, and then SAV coated stickers, which is 1,210. The labor cost for fixing the stickers is 2,000. The grand total is 30,420. Now, for the labor cost for the stickers, there was this guy who told us that his company did the stickers, and he claimed that they charged 1,000 cedis per bus.
100 cedis.
100 cedis per bus.
And that was reasonable. And that's very reasonable.
Okay, you think that's what?
That's very reasonable. Indeed, when I heard that news, when I heard it, I said, okay, that's reasonable. And then, so that guy said they took 100 cedis
per bus.
On the pro
forma invoice indicates that
2,000 cedis.
Well, but who do you
see?
Have
you know, elsewhere, these buses, private institutions or private agencies or private companies like to advertise it with their products. I mean, why does it have to take the state to use? Is it the petroleum?
Yeah, part of the money came from petroleum revenues.
Why do we have to even use state resources to brand the bus? When, I mean, agencies like Coca-Cola and other companies in Ghana are willing to brand this, use the space effectively to sell their product.
Francis, one could as well ask the same question. Why spend money to go and do the Independence Square?
That one is for the state.
But these buses are for the state.
It is for the state. But people are willing to brand it, to sell their products and wares.
And the state is willing to brand it.
And tell us at the state expense.
Well, but everything has a cost.
No. I mean, it shouldn't be the state's expense. Even so, those who, I don't want to accuse anybody, but even so, those who branded this, just take for instance, I keep on asking if it were their private property. I don't think they will spend that kind of money to brand.
But frankly, that's just conjecture.
Yeah, that's conjecture. That's why we are seeking that. When we get the document, everything will be in the document.
Okay, let's listen to Vitus Azim. Vitus Azim is the executive secretary of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. He has concerns about this deal as well. He does not, he shares Francis's view about the Chief of Staff's letter. He does not believe that the Chief of Staff's letter was genuine. Let's listen to him, and then we can come back to Francis.
In the right direction, although it is long overdue, especially the timing of this directive, or is it a reminder, is a bit looks a bit suspicious, because we've been taking the government on for the cost of the rebranding. So when this comes up, just maybe to cool us down and tell us that the government is doing something to cut down on costs. The fact that this thing has come out at this time when we're talking of wastage as a result of the rebranding, the reminder has just come out to maybe tell us that, oh, see, we are doing something, only that you are not saying it. If people have flouted it, and it has given rise to a reminder, something should have been done to those who flouted it. There's no point always making these directives, giving these directives, when you don't put in place measures to check it, you don't put in place sanctions for people who flout it. So definitely, there's no guarantee. We cannot be assured that this is going to happen.
So for you, you think that this is not enough to fight corruption? It's not enough in terms of efforts to fight corruption?
It is not enough for about 2 or 3 reasons. One, the fact that this is not the first time the directive is coming out and that nothing has happened to people who have gone against it. But secondly, because we are not told about measures to check it. For example, I know there are some officers, when they are invited by sponsors and they say that giving them an economy ticket, they are able to get their institution to make a difference, make up the difference for them to fly business or first class. And I'm not sure that the government has a way of checking these things. And so for it to be effective, they need to first put in place measures that will make sure that they can check and identify abuses. And then sanctions for people who have abused this system. I can tell you, a Danish minister has to resign, was compelled to resign because if he or she flew first class. It will be one of the ways of not necessarily involving corrupt acts, but cutting down on costs to the taxpayer.
Yeah, welcome back. We are talking about the controversial branding of 116 buses, which has angered many people. Some have gone to court, some have petitioned the former president. Later in the program, we will talk to Atik Yakubu. He's one of 3 concerned citizens who have petitioned former President Kufuor and former President Rawlings to ask that their names, their pictures be taken off the buses because the expenditure was obscene. Francis, you heard Vitus Azim, who is basically holding your argument that this statement by the Chief of Staff was meant to lull the populace into believing that something is being done. But one would see this is cynicism, because this is a Chief of Staff who is proactive. He finds that there are matters going on in the public domain. He takes a proactive steps, writes to the Attorney General, and he's giving instructions that the contract be reviewed and the payments be reviewed as well. If tomorrow the Chief of Staff writes back a letter and says, well, this is what has happened. The cost has been reviewed to, say, 20,000 per bus or even 15,000 per bus, would you be satisfied?
I think I'll be satisfied in a way.
Why?
Because then maybe the figures have come down, and then they will be relevant, or in comparison to what's on the market, they will be at par.
But you originally said...
Indeed, my argument is, for these particular buses, it is not necessary to brand them. Mm-hmm. And even if they ought to be branded, private entities should have taken over.
So private entities should have paid money.
Monies. It should have been hide. I mean, there's spaces. But this is not the first time that we are branding buses in Ghana.
Yes, of course. That's not the first time. And let me just read to you something that happened as far back as 2004, more than 10 years ago. This was, at the time, there were reports that Metro Mass buses were branded in MPP colors. Mm-hmm. And communications minister at the time, Nana Akomia, who is now communications director of the MPP, replied. And let me just read what he... this was a story that was done and published at the time. Information Minister Nana Akomia has reacted to the branding of some buses belonging to the Metro Mass Transport Company in the colors of the ruling New Patriotic Party. He said branding of the buses is a purely commercial operation. And this is what he said, quote, "The buses are available for adverts. Ghana Telecom has branded 1 or 2 of them. The Young Executive Forum of the MPP is also paying for the branding of some of the buses in MPP colors. And I know that some parties have also bought advert space on some of the buses." This was in 2004, and this was Nana Akomia talking. And the newspaper that does the story said, checks by this paper have revealed that the Convention People's Party is making efforts to get advertising space on some of the buses, whilst the National Democratic Congress is also said to be interested in using the Metro Bus branding concept to advertise itself. This is what you are advocating.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So all these opportunities are there. I mean, these are the ways of raising monies for the state are there. So why does the state has to spend money?
Francis, does it matter to you?
It does.
That if you look at the buses, you would find clearly, you would find political statements on them.
Exactly.
You would find transformational agenda. And we know that's the president's, or that's the NDC's slogan. Changing lives is another slogan of the NDC.
In the first place, the bus is even for Ghana. It's not for NDC. So I even find it offensive to see that, is it Transformation Ghana or whatever? Transformational
agenda. And there is Changing Lives. Changing Lives is written at the back of the buses, and then there's Transformational.
The bus is for Ghana. It's not for NDC. So why even that slogan in the first place?
But of course, we all know that that's an NDC slogan, but it's entirely possible that it has nothing to do with the NDC.
Okay, so we can't defend that. I agree with you. But in the first place, it shouldn't have been there at all. In the first place, the bus shouldn't have been branded with state monies. 2, if it was supposed to be branded, it should have been solely private. The spaces should have been private. I mean, it should have been rented out so that monies will be, we will get extra money.
Hold on, let's take a short break. When we come back, we will talk to Atik Yakubu of a concerned Ghanaian who, together with others, have petitioned former presidents Rawlings and J.A. Kufuor, asking that they should order that their pictures be taken off the buses. You are watching PM Express, and we are discussing the controversial branding of 116 buses that has cost the nation 3.6 million. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. We are talking branding of buses, which has cost us huge money. And my guest is Francis Kennedy Oklu, the Awareness General. Francis, there are those who say this is a selective attempt to just focus on the government because you have seen this as a bad story, so all of you are MPP people in nice jackets and you just seize this opportunity, you go to court and try and create problems for the party and the government in order that your party, whatever party that is, can gain political dividends.
No.
What do you say to those people who...
I don't agree with them. In the first place, we are Ghanaian citizens. And then we should be privy to information when we want to have them. I don't even want to introduce politics into...
Okay, so you hold on. You don't want to introduce... Okay, don't. Let me pick Mr. Atik Yakubu. Atik Yakubu is a concerned citizen, one of three people who have petitioned the former president. Mr. Atik Yakubu, if you can hear me, welcome to PM Express.
Thank you, and good evening to you and your listeners.
Great. I do know you were on the road. You were supposed.
Good evening to you and your viewers.
Good evening and welcome. I know you are on the road. You were supposed to join us, but you couldn't quite make it. But thank you all the same for joining us. You have petitioned the former presidents. Why? Why is that necessary?
I think it's necessary because for the amount of money being spent on those kind of, I would say, unnecessary and misplaced ventures, and the way people have kept quiet for it to seem as if they are trying to institutionalize corruption and make it part of us. We are thinking, we concerned are thinking that somebody has to stand up for it and defend this country. And that we just be there. Corruption has not been affected as part of us before we realize a whole lot of acts, a whole lot of videos and deviant acts will also be institutionalized. You see, 3.6 million for the rebranding of 116 metro mass passes. I mean, this is huge. This is clear corrupt. This is a clear corrupt. This is a daylight robbery.
What's your basis?
It's not that maybe the seats were renovated, or maybe the interior of the buses were renovated, or there was some special work done on the buses. This is just stickers pasted on the buses. Not even an aircon placed in the buses. Just stickers. You and I know very well that one of these stickers will cost not more than 100 cedis. But this is where a minister will come and tell you that, well, all the branding on this, on one of the buses cost 30,000 Ghana cedis. That is like the minister telling you that 1 Corolla X is enough to buy all those. One Corolla X, amount that can be used to buy 1 Corolla X is being used to brand one bus, which is so illogical.
There was a minister who told us, off record, of course, that this was artistic work, and artistic work is expensive. He has a point, doesn't he?
I get the point I'm making on. But you see, I don't believe that those artistic work were done by Leonardo da Vinci. Sincerely, I mean, I don't think it was done by Leonardo da Vinci. And this is just stickers. It wasn't drawing that they did on the buses. And even if Leonardo da Vinci had drawn those pictures on the buses, those are of course 80,000 Ghana cedis. I mean, this is clear of you. because we have jobs to solve, we have unemployment to solve, we have a whole lot of problems, even in Accra alone, to solve. And just so you spend 3.6 million, let's even take that really like we get like 100 guys, we give them a 3.6 million to establish a business on their own. I don't think they'll do something meaningful with it than to put the tickets of the ex-presidents on buses, make it black and white and make it yours colored. Okay, the sticker of President Kufuor is there, the sticker of J.D. Rawlings is there, the sticker of the list of Samuels is there, and so what? What does it add to the GDP of our country? Does it add anything to the GDP of our country? Does it solve the problem of doom? So that is create employment for people.
What do you say to those who say you are simply doing politics disguised as nationalism?
I didn't hear you clearly. Can you please?
What do you say to those who say this is politics disguised as nationalism? You are doing politics, you are politicking, and you are targeting the government and the NDC, and you are clothing this. You are doing this under the cloak of nationalism.
First of all, I believe there is something you call common sense. Let's say you go to the church and your pastor is a card-bearer member of the MPP. Will you say that since your pastor is a card-bearer member of MPP, when he reads the Bible and the book of Exodus, he says, "Do not steal," because it's a card-bearer member of MPP, and which you know very well that stealing is against the Holy Book. Will you say that it's a card-bearer member of MPP, so you are going to steal? Definitely no. You see, it doesn't matter who is speaking. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the person stands. What matters is the person right or wrong? That is how we should tackle issues. When you have to see issues based on political affiliation, where the person's background and what have you, they will end up still doing the same place because nobody will be willing to listen to the other. The minority and the majority in parliament are not supposed to always take a position. You only see them coming to process when there's an increase in salary. Other than that, no, yeah. That is why we are here as a nation. That is why a ministry can just use 3.6 million and think that there will be a no, because she has majority of her majority of her MPs in parliament. To think that you just pass it through, there will be a no for me to go through. You see, people have taken this country and Ghanaians for granted for a whole lot, for far too long. I must say, Ghana has been raped severally, and we have to save Mother Ghana.
You hold the line for me. Let me come back into the studio and talk to Francis Kennedy Okulu, the Awareness General, who is with me in the studio. You heard Mr. Yakubu, and he's saying, Ghana has been taken for granted for far too long.
Exactly. I mean, things are done haphazardly. No. I mean, when we even go back to the World Cup, when the commission sat down, you saw the things which came out. People were just doling out cash. There were no invoices. I mean, I even strongly believe there was no contract signed for this particular, based on the
matter of the buses.
Bus ban. I strongly suspect that no contract was even signed.
Nobody will enter into a $3.6 million contract.
That is my belief. Indeed, I strongly believe that not even a contract was signed.
In any case, by law, it is only not that there can be verbal contract. So if no contract was signed, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yes, of course. Maybe they just call them that, you know what, come and run these buses and then let's just bring your quotation.
But if
and then they hurriedly just went to do some pro forma and then just say, well, yeah, approve. And then the next day we see the chief of staff doing what? Saying he didn't know. When he's part of the government.
Let me bounce that off with Mr. Yakubu on the line. Mr. Yakubu, if you can hear me, does it matter to you that the chief of staff has written, and he's written to the attorney general, and he said specifically that the contract and the associated payments should be reviewed? Why are you still petitioning when the chief of staff is acting on the matter?
I'm not hearing clearly. Can you?
I'm saying that the chief of staff, Mr. Julius Debra, has written to the attorney general to review the contract and the associated payments. The matter is being dealt with, isn't it? why do you still think it is necessary to still petition the two former presidents?
The matter is before the chief of staff. He said he has instituted a committee, which is normal in Ghana. Whatever happens, we institute a committee. Something that even other will say.
No,
common sense approach. Something that even demands a common sense approach. We institute a committee. It's normal. Let's take it as that.
To be fair to him, to be fair to him, in this case, he hasn't instituted a committee. He has written to the Attorney General and given the Attorney General by close of work today, that is 22nd December 2015, to furnish him with information as to how far she has gone in reviewing the contract and the associated payment. This has gone past forming a committee.
I must put it on record that, first of all, with the contract that I saw with Smarties company, there is nowhere that they charge 30,000 for each bus, for the brand of each bus. So in other words, I must say that this contract was a dubious, premeditated, and well orchestrated by the ministry to do the people of this country, because the contractor himself is saying that I didn't receive this money. I don't think this is an information that demands even Attorney General. This is a common sense issue. This is a common sense approach. And whatever it is, at the end of the day, we all come to a conclusion that the pictures are on the buses. The pictures over are relevant, very, very relevant to the former president before and to what does it add to the GDP?
You are imputing criminality
to industries or enterprises.
You are. Mr. Yakubu, your line is quite bad. Mr. Yakubu's line is quite bad. Let me come back to Kennedy, and if the line is re-established, we can get back to him and take a last question from him. But he uses very strong language. He said this is a dubious, well-orchestrated attempt by the ministry
to steal, maybe, to steal.
That's not fair.
It's not fair, but I mean, when you see this pro forma going out, I don't even know what to say. I mean, any right-thinking Ghanaian looking at this, comparing prices. I mean, when it comes to branding, there are people, there are agencies in Ghana who have 20 years, 30 years experience. If you take quotations from them, it won't come near this figure. Not at all.
Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will conclude on this discussion. Maybe we'll go back to Mr. Yakubu and pick a last question from him, and then we can call it a day. But you're watching PM Express. Keep watching. You're welcome back. We are talking the branding of the buses. I understand Mr. Atik is back with us on the line. Mr. Atik, can you hear me? Mr. Yakub, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Good. Before the line disappointed us there, you used very strong language. You said this is a dubious, well-orchestrated attempt by the ministry to fleece the people of Ghana. I think those are very strong words, but you don't have any basis.
In my dictionary, those were the best words that I could get to describe the ministry, because if the company comes out to say that no, we didn't charge 30,000 per bus, we charged 1,100, and later on you come out as a ministry to say that it's 30,000. What word do you expect me to use? But it's a well orchestrated.
But to be fair, it was an
attempt to rape the nation.
To be fair,
and that was the best that I did that was the best word that I could get to describe the ministry.
Mr. Yakubu,
I think that was.
To be fair, the Smarties hasn't quite said that they haven't received any money. What has happened is that a subcontractor which fixed the stickers said that it charged 100 cedis per bus, but the pro forma invoice that we have says Smarties charged the state 2,000 Ghana cedis for the work. So that's as the matter goes. So this subcontractor says they charge 100 cedis per bus to fix the stickers. We have a pro forma invoice that says the state was charged 2,000 Ghana cedis. I haven't quite heard Smarties say they didn't receive 31,000 cedis from the Ministry of Transport for branding each bus. Be that as it may, I think if you ask the two former presidents, and granted that they call the government or they call the ministry and say, take out our pictures, then what?
The line is very bad. I think there's this radio station that has also that's interrupting our.
Are saying that if the two former presidents ask the ministry to take off their pictures, then what?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was saying that yeah. if Mr. Kufuor and Mr. Rawlings ask the ministry to take off their pictures from the buses, then what?
Oh, when they do it, and now since the ministry has now seen that maybe that we can advertise with the metro mass buses, what do you have to do now? Sell the space out, we make some money out of it as a country. At least that money can go into at least filling of photos, maybe creating of roads into the rural areas. It can also help in creating more what we call the cocoa roads, rather than just waiting the space around.
But that wouldn't bring back the 3.6 million.
That's what I think.
But it wouldn't bring back.
My candid opinion.
It wouldn't bring back the 3.6 million.
It wouldn't bring down what?
It won't bring back the 3.6 million that has been spent.
It wouldn't. Oh, so you think that the Ministry of Transport will just take the 3.6 million like that and we just sit and look and watch them? You see, let it be on record. After taking off these posters and Parliament goes on to approve this 3.6 million, we, the concerned Ghanaians, take the Parliament and whosoever is involved to court. I mean, market anywhere. We're not ready to let this go. I mean, this is daylight robbery. You see, at times people work and they get something out of it. Okay, but when you are stealing with impunity, you see, it means when somebody robs you and goes the house and gets I'm smart.
Mr. Yakubu's line is bad again, but I think this is where we will end this conversation with him. Mr. Yakubu, thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution to this discussion. Let me come back to Francis. I'm not sure we have too much time left, but he has petitioned, himself and a couple of other people have petitioned the two former presidents to request that their pictures be taken off. Do you share that view?
I share that
Why?
view.
Because that's completely unnecessary.
In the first place, I don't even understand the concept I mean, why you have one person's picture colored.
Because he's the current president.
Okay.
That's just the point to make.
Okay, there are living presidents. Why are their pictures black? Together with others.
Because they're no longer president.
They are no longer president. Okay, there are dead presidents. Their pictures are black. So, I mean, there's no coherence in the brand, the concept.
So, if the pictures are taken off, what's the purpose?
At least you will have some satisfaction that their pictures are no more there. The spaces are now available. Private entities can go and buy it and then use it to sell their
President
wares.
Mills is not alive. You can't go and ask President Mills to request that his pictures. So
So
they can take off the pictures of Rawlings and Kufuor and then leave that of Mills and President Mahama.
The other day I was saying, indeed, if Mills could speak, he would tell whoever did that please remove my pictures from this bus.
What's your basis for saying?
Oh, I mean, Mills was modest. President Mills, everybody knows.
But this is not ostentation.
Oh, with this kind of figure. I like what Atik said. He said, stealing with impunity. That is what annoys and gets people's goods. I mean, my mom used to say that, in fact, even if you want to steal intelligently.
There's no basis anywhere. There's no evidence anywhere that there is any stealing. There's an expenditure you disagree with. But that is fine. You are entitled to
I am not
disagree.
accusing anybody they have stolen. I am saying, I'm going by what Atik said. Atik said that stealing with impunity. And I'm saying exactly, I agree with him. He is saying it and I agree with him.
And he's also saying he may go to court, and so you may have another group joining you in court.
Indeed, I wish all of us Ghanaians would even go to court. Put pressure on the information, the Minister for Transport to give us all details of this contract so that we will be satisfied.
Francis, the ministry took this decision thinking it was the best for the country. The ministry acts for and on behalf of the people. The ministry acts in good faith. You don't believe that this was one of those actions that was taken in good faith?
In my opinion, this is a useless decision which has been taken. It is not necessary at all.
On that note, we will say thank you very much for spending time to join us on tonight's discussion. That's where we draw the curtains to today's discussion on PM Express. We have been talking to Francis Kennedy Oklu. He is the Awareness General. We also spoke to Mr. Atik Yakubu, a concerned Ghanaian who has petitioned two former presidents on this matter. My name is Malik Abbas Dabu. Good night.